I asked her if I could open the box, and she told me no, it was only for her, that there was nothing interesting in it, and I should go back to my room. I tried again. When can I open it? When you're older, she told me. You're not old enough now. I had turned 13 the week before. That day she told me I was now officially a grown-up. But I'm a grown-up, I reminded her. You told me so yourself last week. Silence. When can I open it? I repeated. She paused. When I'm dead, she responded. You can have it when I'm dead. In fact, it will be my present to you. Over the years, whenever my mother wasn't home, I would take the box out of her closet and turn it around and around, shaking it and wondering what treasures hid inside. I wanted so much to open it, but the box was locked tight and I couldn't figure out how to open it without breaking the lock. I once dropped it on the floor, partly by accident, but partly hoping the little gold padlock would somehow spring open and whatever was inside would fall out. But the box remained shut, and the top corner chipped where it hit the floor. I looked around, afraid she would catch me, even though I knew no one was there. I knew she would kill me if she found me playing with it. So I put it back where I found it and left her room. From that point on, I wanted to know what was inside. I knew the box was important to her. And at her apartment, a few days after her death, I knew that if there was one thing I had to have of hers, it was that. That box would give me the answers to my questions. Who were my parents, really? And why did my mother end up with so very little in her life? As my sisters fought over her 15-year-old television set, I walked into her bedroom and over to her closet. The sliding door was off its track, as it always was when she was alive. Never a good housekeeper when my sisters and I were living with her. My mother's apartment was even more cluttered and messy after we had all moved out. Her clothes were so tightly packed in the closet that it was hard to see what was there. She never threw anything out. I could see the blue dress with the white stitching that she wore to my father's funeral 26 years earlier, crammed next to the brown polyester slacks and the brown and white polyester blouse she wore to her chemo treatments. Her shoes were thrown in a pile in the bottom of the floor, size 7.5 AAA, that she always had such a hard time finding in stores. The home nurse who had taken care of her while she was dying clearly had no interest in keeping the house clean either. What is the point, she probably had asked herself. She's going to die anyway, so why should it matter? I was glad I brought my largest canvas tote bag that day. I carried it with me from room to room, knowing my sisters would think I was trying to take something they might want. I didn't care what they thought. Carrying the bag reminded me of when my mother first came to visit me and my husband in our apartment soon after we were married. She kept her handbag with her the entire time she was visiting, tightly over her shoulder, hugging it to her chest. "Ma," I said when I saw she had her bag with her in the kitchen, the dining area, the bathroom, and then back in the living room, "I promise I won't steal your money." She looked at me like I was crazy, and then I touched her bag and told her it was safe for her to leave it in one place. We both laughed, and she told me she didn't realize that she was carrying it around. I'm not sure I believed her. Now, facing her closet, I bent over and looked on the floor and pushed aside some of her things, but I didn't see the box. I stood up, stepped back as far as I could go, jumped up a few times to see if the box was on the top shelf. I started to get nervous. I didn't want my sisters to know what I was doing. They were still looking through her things, her LP records now. I left my bag on the floor by the closet and tiptoed down the short hallway to the kitchen and to the table covered with the orange and yellow checked vinyl tablecloth with old cigarette burns at the place where she used to sit. Feeling like a criminal, I glanced over my shoulder a few times, hoping my sisters wouldn't notice me.